Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are unpacking one of the most brilliant, thought-provoking films of the 21st century, the 2016 sci-fi drama Arrival. Directed by Denis Villeneuve and based on Ted Chiang's amazing novella Story of Your Life, it isn't your typical alien invasion story. You're not going to find any giant laser battles or explosions here. Instead, it's this deeply layered, mind-bending exploration of communication, time, and, honestly, what it means to be human. So let's look at the exact elements that elevate this source material from a simple genre movie into an absolute masterpiece.
I mean, it's the ultimate knowledge gap, isn't it? If extraterrestrials landed on your front lawn tomorrow, how would you even begin to say hello? That is the daunting, central question driving the narrative of Arrival. When these enigmatic spacecraft just touch down randomly across the globe, the U.S. military brings in linguist Dr. Louise Banks, played brilliantly by Amy Adams, alongside theoretical physicist Ian Donnelly, played by Jeremy Renner. And what's wild is, they aren't sent in with guns. They're sent in with whiteboards. Their mission? Figure out how to bridge an impossible gap and understand beings we share literally zero evolutionary history with.
Section 1. First Contact, Panic, and the Word Weapon.
So, picture this. 12 massive extraterrestrial ships are just hovering silently over random spots around the globe. The uncertainty is totally palpable, and you know what uncertainty breeds? Immediate global panic. The timeline here accelerates terrifyingly fast over a simple but massive misunderstanding. Weeks into the research, the aliens, which they dubbed heptapods because of their 7 limbs, are asked why they're here. The translation comes back as offer weapon. Boom. Instantly, alarm bells ring worldwide. Nations like China and Russia just flat out cut communications with the international teams. Chinese General Shang issues this aggressive 24-hour ultimatum for the alien craft to leave, and suddenly the globe is sitting on the absolute brink of all-out warfare, all sparked by a single, terrifying word.
Let's peel back the next layer. Section 2. The Linguistics of Arrival. Decoding Heptapod.
Now, what's really interesting here is that when Louise and Ian begin studying their alien contacts, who they playfully nickname Abbott and Costello, they don't just, invent magic alien science. They ground the story in real-world linguistics. Specifically, notice the core concept here, the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. This is a very real theory suggesting that the language you speak fundamentally alters how you perceive reality and process thoughts. In Arrival, this concept isn't just some academic footnote. It's literally the thematic core and the driving force behind the ultimate twist of the whole story.
Which brings us right back to that terrifying mistranslation we were just talking about. Why did the Chinese military interpret that alien symbol as a massive threat? Well, the film brilliantly explains that China was interacting with the heptapods using mahjong, and mahjong is a highly competitive, zero-sum game. When your entire foundation for communication is built on winning and losing, well, everything starts to look like a military strategy. Louise Banks, on the other hand, approached them totally differently. She argued that the symbol they used could be way more abstract, translating closer to the concept of a means or a tool. It's a game changer of a distinction.
And this incredible authenticity, it absolutely didn't happen by accident. Writer Eric Heiserer and the production team went to astonishing lengths to research the science. We're talking heavily consulting with 3 different linguists from McGill University. They had phonetics expert Morgan Sondergreger help craft the bizarre, clicking audio of the alien language. Real computer scientists, Stephen and Christopher Wolfram, actually analyzed the script to provide the basis for Banks's on-screen analytical work. They even brought in syntax expert Jessica Kuhn, just to make sure the scientists' workspaces looked exactly right. They truly did their homework to give this explainer's source material its grounded feel.
Section 3. A nonlinear twist. The end is the beginning.
Let's move to the next part and see how this builds. Armed with this actual science, the story totally shifts. Remember the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis? Well, as Louise becomes fluent in the heptapod's circular language, her actual cognitive processes change. She begins to perceive time exactly like the aliens do, not as a straight line from past to future, but non-linearly. Throughout the movie, she's haunted by these incredibly vivid, emotional flashbacks of a daughter, Hannah, dying tragically from an incurable illness at age 12. But looking at Louise's timeline, we hit this breathtaking twist. These aren't flashbacks at all, no way. They are premonitions. Louise is experiencing memories of a future she hasn't lived yet. First comes the arrival and meeting Ian, then their future marriage and the birth of their daughter, and finally the unavoidable tragedy of Hannah's death and Ian leaving. It's like a giant puzzle coming together.
And it turns out, this newly awakened ability to see the future is exactly what saves the present.
As international forces are literally preparing to attack the ships, Louise experiences a vision of the future. She sees a United Nations gala celebrating global unity. At this future event, General Shang approaches her, thanks her for stopping the war, and reveals exactly what she said to him in the past to make him stand down. He literally shows her his private phone number and whispers his wife's dying words. In war, there are no winners, only widows. Louise uses this future memory right there in the present to call Shang, recite the quote, and single-handedly halt a global catastrophe.
So, what does this all mean? The crucial takeaway is that the translation was always just a matter of perspective. When Costello, one of the aliens, reveals their true purpose, the whole shebang clicks into place. The weapon they offered? It was never a bomb or a laser. Their language was the weapon. Or rather a tool, a gift designed to unite humanity and elevate our consciousness. The heptapods came to help us now because, as they reveal, in 3,000 years, they're going to need humanity's help in return. Talk about a long-term investment, right?
Section 4, Crafting a Grounded Vision, Denis Villeneuve's approach.
Taking such a cerebral, internal story and making it visually captivating is a monumental task. Villeneuve explicitly wanted to avoid the shiny, high-tech cliches you see in standard Hollywood sci-fi. He told his team to create a dirty sci-fi aesthetic, something deeply grounded in realism and even, in his own words, slightly boring. Cinematographer Bradford Young used natural lighting and cooler, melancholic colors to perfectly match Louise's worn-down state of mind. Even those towering heptapod ships, they weren't designed as sleek metal rockets. They were actually inspired by the rough, organic shape of an actual asteroid, Asteroid 15 Eunomia. And tying the whole thing together, composer Johan Johansson built the film's haunting musical theme using experimental piano loops and vocals that perfectly echo the alien communication.
And the result of all this artistic restraint? Let's look at Section 5, Universal Acclaim, Box Office, and Beyond. And this brilliantly illustrates a point I love making. A smart, adult-oriented sci-fi film can absolutely dominate the marketplace. Against a pretty modest production budget of $47 million, Arrival went on to gross an incredible $203.4 million at the global box office. I mean, the studio originally projected a pretty conservative opening weekend, but word of mouth just spread like wildfire and turned this into a massive commercial triumph.
The industry definitely took notice too. The film earned a staggering 8 Academy Award nominations. That includes Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Adapted Screenplay. It ultimately took home the Oscar for Best Sound Editing, which honestly is a completely fitting tribute to a movie entirely about communication. On top of that, it just swept the sci-fi community, winning both the prestigious Hugo Award and the Ray Bradbury Award for Outstanding Dramatic Presentation.
Critics were absolutely universally captivated. Arrival holds a massive 94% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Reviewers just poured praise over Amy Adams for her empathetic, deeply intelligent performance that really carried the emotional weight of this complex narrative. Major outlets deemed it sophisticated, grown-up sci-fi, and they loved how it tackled massive existential questions with genuine, heartbreaking emotion. Its legacy is so strong, in fact, that it recently ranked number 29 on the New York Times list of the 100 best movies of the 21st century. For sure, a defining film of 2016.
Which brings us to the final, lingering theme of the story, and really, what you should take away from this explainer. Armed with the knowledge of the entire future, Louise Banks knows exactly what will happen if she chooses to start a family with Ian. She knows the profound joy of her daughter's life, and she knows the devastating, unavoidable pain of her early death. Yet, she chooses to embrace it anyway. She chooses the joy despite the tragic end. So, I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought. If you could see your own life from beginning to end, every single high and every agonizing low, would you change things?